Hi, hello.
Isaiah, how's it going?
It's going great.
I am so glad that we could do this today. It's just you and me.
It is. I've been trying to breathe before this to kind of ground the excitement. Nice for you to
Oh,
breathe.
well, go you. Are you nervous?
Yes, I am.
What makes
Well,
you the most
I think
nervous?
it's more excitement actually than
Yeah,
nervous.
I see. I'm so happy I actually get to like talk to you, see you, hang out.
I'm very excited too. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And thank you for exploring this. And thank you for all your hard efforts, man. I got all those
Of
updates. I
course.
sent you an email. Thank you for that. So, okay. So I'm going to give you kind of a synopsis of how these sessions go. I always do energy work. And the reason why is it's just something that I want to share, but it also kind of gets you in the zone or in the mood of the journey state.
Mhm.
And you'll find that you're going to be in the journey state today. And I'm going to teach you how to do it. And we'll have our eyes closed for a lot of the session. And I do the eyes closed experience because it helps me to be a part of your visualization process, your journey state process. I get to be a part of that with you. So I'm kind of seeing it in my own way in my mind, and I'm feeling out what you're experiencing. And then if you happen to get stuck anywhere in there, you just tell me, and then I'll kind of feel out what we should try in order to keep things moving and flowing. Because the goal here is to get you to be able to do what I do, and you can do it. Anybody can do it. I swear it's like our most innate ability because it's creative. Like when you're a kid and you're imagining Christmas is coming, you're trying to imagine what gifts are going to be in those boxes, and you're trying to imagine, oh, Christmas Day and Santa and all this. You're actually in there. You're seeing Santa or eating the cookies and putting the gifts down. You're seeing yourself opening the presents. You're seeing all of this. That's the journey state. It's you're excited, you're alive, you're imagining, right? You couldn't help as a kid but imagine. Now take that experience and put it into this. It's like, okay, show me what I'm not seeing yet. I want to meet you higher self, or I want to receive a message from you, and then show me what that message is. And so it's taking that imagination experience and just allowing the information to come to you. And sometimes we start by crafting it. So we could start at a beach or mountain view, or I don't know, cornfield or something familiar, right? And so we start with something familiar, but then from something familiar, it guides us into something of its own shape and form, and its own message. Okay, so I'm telling you that because I'm going to tell you how to get into the journey state. I'm also going to do some healing for you. And after I do the healing, then it'll be your turn to journey.
Okay. I like the Christmas thing. I've definitely been in a journey state for this whole experience right here.
Oh, yeah.
Like just imagining how this is gonna go, which is weird because now that I'm here, it's like so surreal.
Yeah, that's actually perfect. Sometimes, Isaiah, I'm so glad you said that. Like, okay, sometimes when I feel a bit stuck in life, one way that I get unstuck is I just close my eyes and imagine myself like standing there watching myself. Let's say I'm sitting on the couch or I'm laying down in bed and I'm just like, I'm not moving, I don't want to get out of bed yet, or I don't want to do this yet. But I know I have to. So I imagine myself then getting out of that position, and then I watch myself go about those steps, and somehow that inspires me to actually start to do the exact same thing I just saw myself doing. It's like you're envisioning yourself doing this thing with me, and maybe it looked in its own way, it had its own thing going on, but it was actually getting you into the moment in time where you're actually following through with that event.
Wow.
And it has a powerful impact. Like it can get you motivated, it can get you moving. If you're nervous, like those conversations that you don't want to have with people, and so sometimes you imagine
Mhm.
yourself talking to that person about that thing, trying to imagine what they might say or how they might act so that you're preparing yourself for the situation. That's already the journey state because you're working with your feelings, you're working with a visual image, you're working with a connection, you're talking to God, even though you might not be directly doing it. You're preparing yourself. You're part of an event, you know, that you're developing a relationship with. So there's different ways that you can be, I guess you could say, more empowered by doing that than it just being like a fantasy moment, but you can really empower it even further, just by developing some of these basic skills. Like you're already developing like the self-awareness of what you're doing is really a spiritual thing, you know, it's a human energy thing. All right. So I can't help it. Like when I get so happy, I just really happy. I just so happy that we could do this today. Okay.
The same for me. I'm trying to contain, trying to
Me
stay grounded.
too. All right. So I just exhale my excitement so that I can be grounded and have this conversation with you. Just like you had to just like chill out
That's
too.
exactly what I have to do.
We're on the same page. All right. So I'm just keep the door open when I do energy healing, but since we're getting close to that point, I want to just give you some tips, because once I'm done doing energy healing, which might be like, since we've got 90 minutes, I might give you like a good chunk of time, you know, because then I'll give you a good chunk of time to do your journey, and then we can talk as well. Like it's just such a good chunk of time. Okay. All right. So after I do healing for you, I'll tell you, okay, Isaiah, now it's your turn to see what comes to you. And so, like I said, you're already familiar with how to get into a journey state, but I'll just give you some pointers here anyway. All right. By the way, did you have anything that you hoped to psychically experience today? Like any kind of
Psychically
intention?
experience. The only tension that I thought of is that I noticed with doing journey states, I have somewhat of a wall of restriction in allowing myself to go deeper.
I
If
see.
someone was to ask me, can you channel into this or do a journey state into this? And it was something that was kind of, I guess, not simple.
Yeah.
I would feel I have somewhat of a restriction on myself.
I see what you're saying. Okay. So for instance, a restriction for me that I've had to work through, um, like when it comes to communicating with people's like deceased loved ones, I
Mm.
get nervous about that because what if I experience them in a way that you're not familiar with? Like I don't want you to feel that this isn't what I really am experiencing, because the power of intention, I will definitely go visit with the spirit of your deceased loved one, and sometimes I might visit them and they're not in a happy place, and then they're like, I don't want them to be like nervous or upset about that, so I get really like kind of nervous about those types of requests. And so for me, some of the things that I do to help myself, I just say, you know what? This is what they're asking. I'm going to be super practical, because all I can do is receive the request, put the request out to the universe, and then just see what comes. And I can't judge it. All I can do is see what comes and then do my thing with it and then share it. And then they can do whatever they want with it. But because I have a lot of practice, I can kind of own it that I'm doing a good job. So the confidence comes with time, you know. But one thing I found that helped to build that confidence was just believing in myself, that all I can do is be as honest as what I am perceiving, experiencing, and just share that as openly and honestly as I can. And I can't fill in any blanks here. This is literally what's coming to me. This is what it reminds me of. This is what it makes me think of. It's completely stalled out. It's not moving. I mean, I say that it's like, I have no idea what to do right now. Like nothing's coming to me. So I'm just completely honest at every moment, you know, and that's the only thing I can do. Completely honest. And then that way, when I'm complete with the session, even if it's like, man, I hope that doesn't freak them out, or I hope that this is the meaning that I would like them to get out of this. It's like I take that breath again and say, you know what? I gave them a genuine experience from the bottom of my heart. And now I just let them do what they need to do with it. And I trust that that's part of God's gift to us both, you know? So
Yeah.
maybe that will help you to know that, could you define for me an idea that's coming to me is, let's say someone was asking you to channel, I don't know, like a blue avians or something. And maybe in your mind, you're thinking that, okay, if I was going to channel blue avians, and obviously then I would see that they looked blue and feathery like everybody else would see them. And then maybe I would, so you're already kind of trying to decide what it's going to be like. Once you're in a journey state, I rarely see faces really, or like my higher self or anybody else higher self. Sometimes that'll
Mhm.
come and be like, okay, this they're showing me this face and stuff. But oftentimes it's more of focused on the message and not what they look like or their name or something like this. And
Mm.
I actually get pleasantly surprised. Like, what if you were to see a blue avian and they happen to look completely human? Would that mean you were wrong? No, you're
So it's
just
kind of
going
just
with
like,
what comes. Yeah,
yeah, letting go of what you think you might know before.
exactly. Exactly. And by practicing this, you'll realize that you might project a lot more of what you think it should be like than you need to. Like, there's no logic involved with this. You just let things flow and whatever it means to you. So sometimes I say it like this. Let's say I have a client that says they want me to do some energy work for their eyes, and then I'm taken to their feet. There's literally no logic in this. I really want to do healing for your eyes, but I am for some reason asked to look at your feet. So, and there's no logic involved in this. I just have to go as guided and trust, because it's the intuition that is the power, right? So let's say it's the intention. So let's say the
Mhm.
intention for you is I guess healing for the eyes or blue avians or higher self or whatever. That intention, you will get exactly what you need from the intention is the path itself. No matter what you find on the path, even if it has nothing to do with your intention perceivably, that is exactly what you need to know. And so it's like, I'm looking at pink, tell me more about pink. God gives you black. It's like, it's exactly what it needs to be. So just go with it.
It's interesting. It was another worry that when someone asks me to do something for them or do a journey into something for them,
Yeah.
a worry was, oh, what if I don't know what that thing is? But the thing is, I should
Oh,
probably just feel into, like, allow myself to feel into that feeling and just be excited because I
e-
don't know what it is.
exactly.
Like
Okay. This is a,
the blue people. I haven't ever heard of that, but that's
Mhm.
kind of a good thing that I'm not a lot, like, my mind isn't
Right.
trying to put pieces together.
That I'm so glad you asked this question. Okay, two things come up. One, I had gotten a request that at one time, this was several years ago, I guess two black holes were merging, and nobody knew what was going to happen. So they asked if I would do a journey to try to perceive what was going to happen. And I saw basically two lovers that were dancing around one another and then just became one. And it was like a really beautiful experience. But now let's take it to the next level. Somebody wants me to channel Nikola Tesla and find out, solutions to the world's problems. Well, I don't have like a science background, or I don't know anything. I'm pretty basic, man. I'm kind of a cartoony person, a silly person. So how I'm going to perceive very highly intellectual things, it might be reduced down to my level of comprehension, where since somebody can take this physics conversation that is very simple to me, they might be like, oh my God, that is actually the next step that I was looking for. I actually understand what was being exchanged there. And so you just got to go with what comes. Like, somebody could tell you, what is the meaning of this word? You never heard that word before. Like, I'll even do that with live streams, that sometimes I'll have a request, like, what do they want to show me about this? And it's like, oh, I've never heard of that. Don't know anything about that. So then it's like, I just go in and see what comes. Like, I have no idea what's going to come. It may have nothing to do with what you think you know about that thing, but I'm supposed to perceive it in this way. And so that helps. Another, it helps to just again emphasize that don't try to just completely just step back from the judgment part and just let things show themselves to you, because your soul knows everything, your mind doesn't always know. So just let it be perceived however it needs to be. Another one, like, sometimes you'll have people come and they want to challenge your psychic ability, and they'll be like, okay, I like, this person came to my house Where do they, who is this person? Where do they live? What is their, and it's like, I've lost my keys. Where are my
Yeah.
keys located?
Yeah.
It's like, what do I look like? And where do I live? Like, you know what? You could have, I mean, you could be green and I will see you as yellow. Like, so my experience is so creative because in creativity, we have infinite access. And that creativity is like a mirror that helps us to see all of us, to see into something inside of ourselves. And that's wisdom. And that's deep healing. And that's infinite. So when we want to deduce things down to simple logic, we get a kind of attached to the logic when we need to let go of it and keep being creative, because the creativity is so abundant, so many more paths, so many more doors. Where if it's just 1 + 1 = 2, it'll always be that way. That's the way it has to be. It gets a solid, grounded state. We like to work with this. We collectively agree with this, but it'll never change. Maybe it makes sense that 1 + 1 will forever equal 2. That what if we could alter mathematics by saying 1 + 1 = 3? And what if we can alter mathematics and our way of perceiving mathematics by changing our obsession with the way things have to be? You know what I mean? I don't know. It's just thoughts, but what, any other
No,
like,
I understand. I'm keeping up.
yeah, you're going to do so good. Okay. So did you have any like any intention, like did you want to visit with your higher
Intention.
self, or did you want to like heal something, or just whatever comes up maybe?
Hmm. Outside of what I already mentioned, I think I was more going into this as general.
Yeah,
I guess whatever comes out.
sure, I love that. Oh man. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna do healing for you now,
Okay.
and then it'll be
Okay.
your turn. And either you'll start with a space that's familiar with you, like, okay, we're gonna open this up to the universe, whatever you want to share with me today in the journey state. And you could start like in a forest, and then just start by describing what your forest looks like, for instance, or what your beach looks like, or your mountain scene. My mountains are far away, or they're really close, and I'm looking up at one that I'm going to have to climb, so you're going to want to describe your experience, which is inside yourself. It'll either be very detailed and clear, or it'll be blurry, but you'll seem to sense, like, okay, it's not very clear, but I can tell that it's rocky, or I can tell that this mountain has a lot of trees, or I am by a waterfall. Like, I can tell there's water nearby, or I could tell there's a deer that keeps looking at me. So even if you can't see clearly all the details, you'll still be able to pick up on some strange nuances about this experience, which could be completely pitch black. Like, I can stand in a completely pitch black space, and I can tell, like, is there walls? Is it completely open? Are there stars? What color is it beneath the surface? Is there something hiding in here? Maybe it's a piece of paper. Maybe it's, so I kind of ask questions silently as I'm just sort of experiencing a space. And then I let it reveal more to me, whether I can see it clearly or not. I can just simply tell. I just sense it. And so you can, again, start with a familiar place and then let it guide you to information. Or you can just basically just wait for something to be inspired inside of you. Like, if I were to say, okay, I like to just, whatever wisdom healing you want to share with me, universe, and then I'm just still, and then something will start to come into my senses, you could say. It's like, suddenly I'm starting to look at something silver, and I try to um, make sense of what is, okay, it's silver. What else about this? Oh, it seems to have a handle. Oh, you know what? This is some kind of tool. And so it's starting to build in detail, not because I see it, but because I can just simply sense the image. And once you practice this, you'll know that there sometimes can be really clear, and sometimes it's not going to be clear, but everything is exactly as it needs to be. So when it's not clear, That's because it's not meant to be. As for instance, some clients, I'll go into their energy field and it's like, my God, you must be really, really like colors, because it is so bright and rainbowy in here. I mean, there must be something to this about you. And I could see the freshness of every detail of the water and every detail of the landscape, because there's something about them that really appreciates details or really appreciates colors or loves artwork or something. So then I could be in someone else's energy field, and it's like, my God, I'm just walking through the densest, thickest, slowest energy space of all time. Like they must feel just blocked. They must feel like they aren't able to see much in their life. Like, so there's a reason why it's going to be less detailed for this situation and more detailed for this situation. And it's not anything about you being blocked in your third eye. It's actually supposed to be blurry or not clear, or it's supposed to be very detailed and clear, because that's part of the message as well. So, so that's some more information. But as you're going through, obviously, I'm telling you a bunch of stuff right now, but then once you're in the experience, we'll just kind of follow it through and just see what it's like for you. So just describe as many details, choose a familiar place, or just let it appear to you. And then if nothing comes, let me know and just say, Abby, nothing's coming. And then I'll kind of feel out where I'm at with my connection with you and what you're experiencing. And I'll give you some ideas and tell you what it feels like I'm sensing around us, and see what you get from that. So we work together. Okay. All right. I'm going to do healing for you now. All right. Here we go. All right. What is the most meaningful wisdom and healing that I can share with Isaiah today? Huh. Okay. So, basically there's lots of squares and they're brown and they kind of it's almost like a wind is coming and maybe knocking down dominoes, because it's like they seem to have been upright, these squares, then they fall and then they connect to each other, and it's like because there's like so many individual ones and they're just starting to all fall. And I guess they're just kind of cascading to some kind of scene over here. Not sure what that is, but I'm just going to watch for a minute. Okay. All right. The next thing is it's quite silent. And I still see all of these have fallen. And then I also see what is the outline of actually a person. Make sure my volume's off here. Okay. So I'm going to watch this. And okay, so it's you and you're kind of stepping into this space. These squares kind of represent pixels in a way, like trying to create color. And then the other side is sort of just dark. It's just like a black scene. And then here we have just these brown sort of squares on the ground. And then there you are, you're just like an outline of a body. And you're standing and it's quiet and you're looking around, but you notice that you're standing on the strange ground. You don't pay much attention to the pixels that I see, but you do notice you're on an arrow. And instead of continuing to walk straight ahead, you turn your body to what is to the right. And then you're facing in this direction, the way the arrow is pointing. And I start to see that these fallen squares actually do line up to create an arrow. And what I find nice about this is actually how peaceful and still and it's slow in here. It's like calming down. It's comforting. It's peaceful. There's no rush and no hurry. And I really like it because it's listening for the sound of what is like God's voice and not expecting to hear it immediately, but yet hearing something. And then it's almost like You're waiting a time again, and then another time, and then another time, almost like you're just confirming what you heard is correct. And then once you get the sensation, you know that you are ready to take the next step. I like it because there's a sense of being collected, a sense of confirming thoughts, feelings, or what you feel like you're receiving as guidance. And it's all like the silent higher wisdom guidance that sort of blossoms inside yourself at random times in your life, or maybe in a week. Like these things do happen, and you're just kind of staying with it, really digesting it, taking the time, and then taking a step when you feel ready. And it's just so I feel like watching you in this scene, it kind of echoes to me how I don't know, I'm like on a roller coaster. I just go. And what you're showing me, it's almost like you're showing me something about how pleasant it can be to just not go and just be still and just simply receive and then digest the receiving and then take one small step. It's like one small step for man, one giant step for mankind. It's like the small step is a lot bigger than we know. And there was like it was like a, it was like a very receptive and honoring and genuine digestion of what was received. It wasn't rushed. And it's so freaking pleasant. I'm just watching, like, gosh, it's just so nice. I really like this. I just smiling really big, like, I really like this. I like what you're showing me. And you kind of like laughing a bit because it's almost like I'm showing you though, but you're showing me. That's like, we're showing each other. It's really cool. It's very harmoniously balanced and fun because you're emanating a certain like a personality style, and I'm emanating a personality style, and they're really enriching. Like I'm watching us both and we're really enriched, having enriching experience together. It's so cool. All right. And you ask me if there's something that I see that maybe you aren't seeing. I say, okay, let me see here. Let me just see. I'm going to go really quiet. I tell you, I say, I could tell you what I see at many different layers, but then if I slow down, then I can hear at other layers where I wouldn't be able to hear if I was going too fast. So I feel like I could show you thousands of things that I see, but I think to develop the real meaning, maybe it's a mix of your style that you're showing me is a quieter, a really good listener here, and really digesting what is heard and making really a strong, like this one step alone was just a really strong step, and it was like a statement in and of itself. And journeying is like really paying attention to all of the even silent voices, which every detail, it's like you could look around your house and you see all these details, but then if you were to just close your eyes, you might hear the sound of your house. And so you can take things at the surface layer, but you can go deeper if you want to. And it might feel like, well, just making this up, but it's actually more profoundly aware, because there's really no, you can't, literally can't make this stuff up. You really are completely in tune with what is coming to you. It's just allowing yourself to say, that's what it was for me at that time, and that's how I felt it and saw it and experienced it. And I feel like there's meaning to how I'm grasping it like this. Now the sound of your house sounds like this low drum, let's say, and you're wondering if the drum makes you feel good or makes you feel not good. and you start to understand that when it comes to energy, not everything is like super happy. Sometimes it's just confused or it's disoriented. um and I feel like part of what I meant to tell you is, like, we're raised in this world to think that there's the human world, it's all jacked up, then we die, and then bing, we go to heaven, everything's great. But there's no real like comprehension of the fact that we're paralleling literally all of creation in all dimensions, and it's all flowing through us as physical and spiritual beings simultaneously. We shed the body and we just become one with it all in, but we do it in phases, and some parts of us are just as wholeness, and other parts of us are insecure and stay behind, and some parts of us want to help because we're passionate. And is it the same soul, or is it part of a multitude of collective of souls that feel the same way? It's just like we're just expanding our perceptions of things, because beyond this human is just such an expanded divine truth of an amazing universe that's all around us. And so if you're perceiving your, let's say you're looking at your home and you're saying, let's say that my human eyes, I'm seeing my home with my human eyes and I see these details, and I'm going to close my eyes and then listen to something beneath the surface of these details, and then I start to hear this low humming or low drumming sound, and I feel as though this drumming sound reminds me of, I get what it reminds me of actually when it comes to me is, it's like it's keeping the pace, it's keeping the beat. Um, because it is such a low, and it's like a slow rhythmic sound, but it's a whole sound. There is a bit of the feeling of how hard it is to be human is one step at a time, and it can feel very slow, and we want to speed things up, but sometimes you can only go at a certain pace. And now it's starting to remind me of all these other feelings and sensations. And so now when we go beneath the surface, we are accessing a sound. Was it just our imagination, or was it exactly what we needed to receive in order to explore even more about our relationship with time and taking each step in our human life into something new and new experience, and how we want to grow and how we want to express ourselves, how we feel maybe in a hurry, impatient, or maybe we feel peaceful and content with the pace of things. And it's so I'm kind of coming back because you're asking me if there was something that I saw that I wanted, that I would tell you about it. And so this is what came to me, because I felt like I could access so many layers, and I was showing you this, but I didn't feel like it was as meaningful as if I could just be patient and slow down and hear something even deeper and beneath the surface. Now presenting you with this understanding, because it is kind of an interesting tool to reflect on. Human eye see human world journey is seeing through an inner eye everything in a way that we never saw it that way before. With our human eyes, our human perception, our human feelings, it's showing us in a way that we hadn't even thought about it like that or felt about it like that. There was one time I was upset about something because I'd asked a question, and the answer that I got was no. And I was upset because I really did. I was surprised that the answer that came back was no. And I just said, I actually was upset, and I told the universe, how could the answer be no? I don't know how the answer could be no. How could it be no? And then suddenly it was Archangel Lucifer that came and said, well, why can't you accept no? I said, oh my gosh, why can't I accept no? I guess no is actually the best answer I could have ever gotten, because obviously I decided the answer should have been yes, of course, but it was no. And I guess it's not a mark against me. It's just the decision. Wow, I can't even believe I took offense to that. And so it's like when you start to become receptive, you're going to have moments in life where you have a response of feeling a reaction to this human world. But then if you go into a journey state, you might be shown that, my gosh, it wasn't what I thought. And why was I reacting like that? Wow, I'm really glad it ended up happening this way so that I could realize that it's okay for answers to be whatever they are and not to have any preconceived expectation. I actually feel more empowered to be okay with no, and okay with yes. But being okay with no is very powerful. It's almost like we're always hopeful that everything is always an open door. It's like no is this closed door in your face. Like, how could it be no? Now, what am I going to do with no? It's actually a good thing. Sometimes these no's are actually very good. And to be okay with whatever the answer is from another human being, or whatever the answer is in the way that your life is moving. It seems kind of crappy sometimes when it goes for years and it's just like things are not moving, and it's like the universe is saying no to me. And I am not okay with that, because no matter what I do, there should be a yes involved, and there is just simply no's. And again, it comes back to perception at the human level, day-to-day life, at a bigger picture. The know that we could tell each other, or the know it feels like the universe is rejecting us. But these are the deeper layers of just self-awareness, our relationship with being human, our perceptions, our feelings, our innocence, and then expanded awareness, and then strengthening ourselves and our understanding, becoming enlightened beings. My gosh, is it fun? It's really fun, actually. You tell me right away that you're excited to be on an arrow that's pointing you in a direction. And I say it's cool, actually. We can't deny there's definitely an arrow you're standing on, and it is pointing the way. And you just took a step, and I got to watch this like process going on inside yourself, and you just nailed it. You just sensed it, you felt it, you took a step, and it's just working out. It's such a good feeling. Maybe it's the yes, like the universe is saying yes. It feels so good. And let me see what you say next here. Hmm. You okay, this is what I want to tell you, because all right. So you have this is really good. You have a strong ability to be able to okay, this is how the scene works. There's a big invisible wall that appears. You take a inhale, exhale, like this is going to be difficult. And you turn the knob to the door opens, and then you're walking through. What I like about this is there's been times in my life where I know I have to face something big, and it's like it's just something bigger than me, and there's a door that I have to go through whether I want to or not. And it could be, for instances, I felt this a lot as a kid, and I felt like life was so painful as a kid, because there was all these like I was being judged, I was being criticized. I didn't know if I was going to do something wrong or not, or if I was going to get yelled at. And I was constantly like nervous, as I was always trying to be my best so I could make everybody around me happy. But even then, I wasn't always able to do it. Maybe they were just having a bad day and taking it out on me, but then I perceived it as I did something wrong. And so I felt like I was always having to take these big breaths and these releases, and I was going to have to face another difficult conversation with my parents, evaluating my behavior or what I did, my work ethic. Because as a kid, I didn't realize that I had such strict parents. I just wanted, they just, was me having to do better, you know? But I always felt the judgment, and I always felt just kind of nervous about that. And so I'd have this big wall, is let's say I have to show my parents that I didn't get an A or something. and or I didn't finish this on time, and well, why didn't you finish it? If you don't get your work done on time, don't you know, like that kind of conversation, and I just feel miserable, and why, and I kick myself, and why didn't I do it? But there's this door, and you know that you have to have the courage and you have to go through it whether you want to or not. But once you go through it, you're on the other side, and guess what, you did it. And I would tell myself this, that you know what, I'm not going to enjoy this conversation, but once I'm on the other side, the conversation is over and I can go live my life again. And maybe it was I had to be up on stage or like give a presentation or something like this, make me really nervous because I have all these eyes judging me and I don't know if I'm going to do a good job or not. And so you take this deep breath, and it's like this agonizingly emotionally painful reality because of judgment. Now you move through it and you did it. You freaking did it. And I see that you have that. Like, I admire myself for having that courage because I felt a lot. I was very sensitive. And I see you have the same courage that I admired about me. I admired about you because I see you standing at a big wall and doing that exact same thing. And you're opening the door and you're moving through it. And you're like, I'm nervous. But guess what? I'm freaking gonna open this door and I'm gonna go to the other side and I'm gonna do this. And my God, you're gonna reap so much reward for that. Not only just being proud of yourself and taking pride in every step of your life and all that you've conquered. Just going through that door was really hard, but guess what? You did it. And you could look back and say, well, it's ridiculous that it would ever have been that hard. Well, it was that hard. And let's not like reduce the volume of it because we're even judging it, you know. Yeah, just stop with the judgment and just, it really was that hard. And I did it. And now it's like, had I did it. And I see that. And who knows, maybe this wall is you doing a journey here with me, and you're going to do it. Like, you're going to open the door, you're going to walk through it, and you're going to do it. And you're going to be like, my God, I just freaking did it. Be like, yeah, you did. It feels like to do your own journey. What do you think about that first?
Wow. This is what I think. Oh, I'm kind of speechless. Um, I'm still processing. Wow. Is I
Oh,
feel
some, oh, there.
proud of
Is
myself too.
it? Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Happy. You're able to still hear me. My screen froze.
Okay.
There we
Hello?
go. Hi.
What happened?
I don't know. My screen froze. Were you able to still
Oh,
hear me?
and I got booted out and I just back in. But yes, I can hear you loud and clear this time. It was getting kind of
Okay.
choppy there. Now it's all smoothed
Really?
out. Hmm.
Might have been my mic. My mic does that sometimes.
Oh, well, you're super clear. And
Okay.
maybe it just needed a reset. I don't know. So yeah,
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. Definitely. Well, are you ready to give journeying a try now?
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Yeah, you can do it. So did you want to start with like a familiar place or just see what comes up?
Um, I can see what comes up.
Okay,
See what comes
cool.
up.
Nice. Most people go the familiar route, so go you for choosing the challenge. Not
Obviously, when I know a
surprised.
familiar place,
Yeah.
I do, but I'm gonna do and just see what comes.
Okay.
Okay, well, the first thing that comes is I feel extremely tiny. I feel like I'm feel like I'm a child, and the environment around me is a large crowd of people. And it's almost like if a kid was got lost in a store or got separated from its parents. And the more I kind of sit with this image, the more it feels pretty nerve-wracking or anxious. And I'm kind of just looking around, I'm just walking through the people, trying to find something. It could be trying to find my parents or just find something. I'm kind of just wondering, looking at all the faces. All the faces look pretty, they look pretty mad. I don't know if these people are actually mad, but they just look mad. I think it's just, I think it's just how I'm perceiving this experience of being lost is making the environment seem like it's against me. So the environment around me and the people, they look pretty scary, but I don't know if they're as scary as it seems. So I'm going to just tell myself I'm safe. And it's very confusing because I haven't found what I'm looking for yet. I haven't found if it's my parents I'm looking for, I haven't found them yet. But I tell myself I'm safe regardless. And that makes me a lot, it makes me way more nervous saying that I'm safe. It feels like resentment and it's just making me even more anxious, but I'm just sitting with it still and I'm safe. And the more I just keep repeating that I'm safe, I kind of stop walking and I stop wandering for whatever I'm looking for. I just kind of sit in the middle of this crowd or I just stand in place. And now I'm just watching everything. The more I watch this environment, it's kind of just going by now, like it's a blur. I'm not even really. It looks kind of like a time lapse, like it's just moving by really quickly now, and it's just kind of blurry, and the world around me is moving really fast, but I'm kind of just in a timeless space in my own self. But and it feels pretty peaceful. So I'm kind of just watching. I'm just watching as everything goes by, and I it feels like a light bulb turning on above your head type of moment. And I realized, wow, this whole time, this thing I've been wandering and looking for is this space that I'm in right now. So, in a sense, I was just looking for myself. And I guess I found what I was looking for. It feels like that was all I meant to share. It feels like that's all I meant to share. Or it feels like either this is all I'm meant to share, I don't really know where to go from here. So I allow this to just be all I share because I don't know where to go. What do I do now is what I'm learning is what do I do now is what I'm asking.
Are you asking me or yourself?
Both.
Oh.
Both. What do I do
Hmm.
now? Asking myself, what do I do now? I'm seeing the image of a dog. I'm seeing an image of a dog my brother used to own. He used to love chasing cats. And there was one moment where I didn't see this, but my brother was telling me about this, where he was chasing a cat and my brother was trying to get him, and he actually got the cat. He cornered the cat, and he was able to do whatever he wanted to with the cat, but the dog just stopped and he was just staring at the cat like, what do I do now? I finally caught it, but I've been chasing cats my whole life, and I finally cornered one and caught it, but now I don't know what to do. And then the cat kind of just left as the dog just watched it leave. But I guess I can just ask myself, well, what was I expecting? And I go back to the image of me wandering around the store with all these people, and I was searching for something to feel safe. And I told myself I am safe and allowed myself to be safe. And the thing that I was searching for, I found was myself, or this space with myself where I feel at peace. And the outside world, everything outside of me is, even if those faces were really mad, even if they weren't mad, if they were mad, it's kind of, it's a blur now. It's not exactly what's more important, but more that I found a safe space within myself. But why am I expecting that I should still have something after this? It gets us more me now wondering, what do I do with this space? And it's kind of exciting now because I think, okay, well, I could do anything I want with this space. This is reminding me of the live stream you did on Patreon. I asked the question, if you could have anything or do anything you want, what would you want to do with a person who doesn't know? I have this space I could do something with, but I don't know what I want to do with this space. I'm seeing a bunch of steps being made. I did a video where I guess it was just a general reading video, and I ended up finding this black space, just a really plain black space, and there was a bunch of steps that looked like really thin rectangular shapes. And there was so many steps, so many to the point where if you look forward and you're just seeing all these steps, there's not really an end step, and if you look behind you, there's an infinite amount of steps. You can't really see where you started. And there was a step that I got stuck on, and I was having a hard time, I guess, getting past this step. And eventually I realized that I am able to make my own steps and take. I noticed within this space, it was kind of good to acknowledge the past. And I find that there are some people who don't really like acknowledging the past. Like if you're living in the past, you shouldn't be living in the past. You should more stay focused on the present. But acknowledging the past for me in the space and acknowledging where I've come from and what I've achieved for myself, it was helping me gather my wants, my current wants, and my current needs, and the things that I don't want anymore. And I could take that and I could turn that into a step. And even if that step isn't fully made, it's not strong enough for me to step on it yet. It's building a step. It's building something for me to be able to move forward. So if I take this space now in this store where I found a place of peace and safety within myself, if I don't know what I want in this space or what I want to do with this space, what do I not want within this space? Now I at least know that I don't want to leave the space.
Mm.
It makes me pretty scared to the idea of leaving the space makes me pretty scared. I know that's something that I don't want to do. I'm looking around this environment now and I'm looking at myself and I'm looking at the images flashing by, the blurry images and blurry people. And I'm coming to a I'm coming to a place where I kind of wanted to slow down now and I want to fully see everything around me. I want to fully see the people. And I'm starting to realize that this space, I think something I don't want is to only share this space with myself. I feel that other people deserve to feel this space as well. If I walk into a space with someone else, then I'm bringing the space with me, then they are now a part of the space. So they can feel just as peaceful and safe as I do in this space. They can feel just as peaceful and safe in this space as I do by me just bringing myself, encountering with people. So while the people aren't blurry anymore, I'm in the store again. I'm still pretty small. I'm still a really little kid, but I look up at everyone and some of the faces are still pretty, they look pretty mad still. So now I'm wondering if that guy was actually really just mad, having a bad day. But I have a gift for him now. I have the space. And I walk forward, but then I stop and I wonder, well, how do now I'm wondering, how do I share the space? Do I just stand next to him? Maybe I could communicate with him. I have another I have another moment that's like a light bulb flashing above your head. And I think of one of the videos that you made that really inspired me in how I interact with people in public. It was a video of you, I think you're at a lake and you were walking a trail. And in the video, you weren't doing this, but you were telling us that you were walking. And the people that you passed, you would imagine a ball of light and love, and you would just give them to everybody you passed. And ever since I saw that video, I just like doing that. I like giving people balls of love, and it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be specific. Just give them this white ball of love and just keep moving. So I don't have to do anything specific for this guy who's probably having a bad day. I could just let him have his bad day, but at least if I do want to give him something, I could give him one of these white balls of love. So I do. I give him a white ball of love. And usually I'll just press the white ball of love on their heart space and allow them to keep doing whatever they're doing. But this time I put it in his hands and he's holding it and he's just looking at it. And he's really confused. And he looks back at me really confused. And he just looks forward and he keeps walking, but he keeps the ball with him. He doesn't say anything, but he keeps it though, which is good. Now I'm back in the space with the steps, and this step that wasn't exactly fully, if I stepped on it, it wouldn't be fully made yet enough to support me. It's a lot firmer now. If I wanted to step on this step, I can. I ask myself, what does this mean to me? Why is this important to me? This interaction back in the store, giving this person, and I ask myself this, and again, the small, really small version of me, he answers that it makes him feel safe. He's really shy about it. He's really shy about talking about how much this means to him. But he really likes the idea of doing it because it makes him feel safe. I'm really curious, so I ask him, it makes you feel safe from what? I just experienced staring. He's thinking, and he's more thinking if he's not too sure if he wants to answer. Like almost as if he doesn't want to think about it. Would it be too much for you to answer this? It makes him feel safe from the idea that he is alone in this space. It goes back into this the image of him walking through the store, looking at looking at all the individuals, and he's feeling lost again. And he's starting to wonder if these people aren't these people asking if I need help or if I'm lost. Starting to wonder if he's actually really even here, or if he's just experiencing this space, but they aren't experiencing him. I myself, me, the present version of me, I look at him and I honestly tell him that I understand and I honestly don't know what to say. But I give him a hug instead. I tell him it's hard to feel alone when I'm hugging you. And now again, I'm just sitting with this in the space, hugging myself. A lot of these images that I've been seeing so far are starting to fade, and it's starting to, I guess, bring up some worry within my being. What happens when I don't ask myself, what happens when I don't see anything? What happens when I'm not experiencing anything? But I almost quickly answer, well, it's okay to just sit with that and be with it. But how am I supposed to face, how am I supposed to face the fear? I don't have an aspect of myself hugging me in this space. It's really hard to feel alone when you have an aspect of yourself hugging you. But now that I'm in this space, I'm a bit worried. I'm starting to feel pretty panicky. I think this is the part where I should start relying on things outside of myself.
You should see an image of myself standing there and see what I look like and what I'm doing. I'd love to. Just that way you're not alone, man. See what happens.
See what happens. I can rely on things outside of myself. And so Abby is here. You are incredibly tall. It's pretty funny. You're incredibly tall. Why are you so tall? I almost can't really see your face. Okay, so me wanting to ask this question is making me pretty vulnerable. But I asked if I can see your face. And I almost expect you to come down to my level, but you bring me up to your level, and I grow extremely tall too. And I meet you at eye level. You you tell me that we were eye level the whole time. That you being taller than me was just a perception. This image of me starts to cry. And this image of you hugs me. You're calling me to bring attention to just where I am right now. And really think about really think about the idea of me being eye level with you.
Yeah.
I'm in a Zoom call with you right now. This was pretty far beyond my expectations. Even this turning into a one-on-one, a one-on-one Zoom call. He almost doesn't know how to feel. starting to get really confused and almost forgetting where he is. Like, wow, where am I? Where am I right now? How did I end up in this book? How did I end up here right now? If I look behind me and see all the steps that I've taken so far, I'm quite certain on some of those steps I would not have imagined myself being here. And you ask me why. He says, I don't know. I just didn't expect this. I didn't expect that. I rely so much on, there are times in my life where I rely so much on everything internally and my imagination and my fantasies. And in my fantasies, you can easily be eye level with me just to help me in this space. If I'm in a space where I'm physically alone, I'm not in a Zoom call with Abnormal. I have an Abnormal in my fantasies who eye level with me.
Mm.
But now, but outside of that fantasy experience and the physical reality, wouldn't have expected my physical reality and my fantasy experience to almost be mirroring each other. And now that they are, it's very shocking. He's, he says I can have this. It's okay to believe that I can have this. What comforts me in a fantasy experience, it doesn't have to just be within a fantasy experience. Your physical, my physical reality can be just as comforting. It's almost like I should start looking at my physical reality and fantasy experience as eye level.
Yeah.
Like one is not super way taller than the other or far away from the other. And he says, thank you. My heart space really wants to communicate, but this aspect of me feels as if it has a hard time communicating, and him feeling that way almost just stops it. He's thinking she doesn't have any idea what how much this means to me. My heart space wants to communicate that, but I feel like it couldn't, so I won't even try. But if it wants to communicate it, just let it. See what it has to say. And he asked me, what if it doesn't make any sense? That's okay. It's okay if it doesn't make sense. It's just see what it has to say regardless. I was being pulled back to the image that you saw from earlier of me in front of this wall, this huge door, and I just take a deep breath and I say, okay. I open the door and I walk through. My my heart is representing a dog that seems like it's so well trained to the point where I open a door and before it walks through, it looks up at me as almost asking permission. And from one perspective, that seems like, wow, it's really well mannered heart space, but from another perspective, it seems so sad. Why did I train my heart space to feel like it has to ask me permission to express itself? So I kneel down and get eye level with this dog, and I tell it that I'm sorry. And instead of a dog now, it's almost shifting into just another image of me, so it looks like I'm mirroring myself. It says it understands. I'm really confused why it's so patient with me. And it's really, I'm really confused why my heart space is so patient with me. My heart space is so confused why I'm really hard on myself. You can express yourself. When I say that I can express myself, I'm taken back to the space that's not really seeing or feeling anything. So I'm kind of just being, I'm just sitting in space. I'm not really experiencing anything, but I'm just sitting with this. And on one side, I'm a bit confused why this is the expression, but in the other side, I'm still allowing myself to just sit with this. This space, it's wanting to communicate that it misses. I miss Abbey. Me wanting to communicate that is making me feel very vulnerable. And I realized that's something that I wasn't allowing my heart space to communicate.
Aw, I'm glad you said that. It just put me back in there.
So I put you back in space. And this time around, you're not as tall at all. You're just
Yeah.
eye level. We're both not tall at all. We're just eye level. It feels like I've been waiting a long time to give you one of these. And I give you one of the balls of love. I hand it to you.
Thank
Be
you.
had a lot of experiences where I'll show my appreciation to the content that you make and the way you've influenced my life. I'll go into a fantasy space,
Mhm.
and just give you these. But it's different this time around. It's more impactful to me because it's physical reality, this fantasy experience, synergetic experience is eye level.
You should make sure that you're perceiving from your perspective. Make sure to ask me in your heart, like, Abby, are you okay receiving this? Or Abby, how does this make you feel? And stay open-minded, because um like, I might have so many interesting things to say, and perhaps that would help start to create like a vibrational exchange where you really can actually share who you are with someone who cares, and you can be part of that exchange, because it's not just your soul in an infinite universe. It's like, this is the life force energy of me too, and it's going to enrich, because there's no doubt about it. I have to tell you that I am blown away by how talented you are, and I am shocked that, like, you should be totally doing sessions for people if you aren't already. Like, I am so blown away. And maybe that strange step, I know you were like leagues ahead of that strange step that wasn't carrying your weight or was something, but I tell you what, I think the self-worth and the confidence, like we were talking about, like, I think you're more than ready to welcome like living exchanges in your life, because you're freaking worthy of it, and you're profound. You're not just like, you have a profound, um you've developed a profound state of being. And for a human being, you're impressive. So I just got to tell you that. And so you're welcome to see like how I receive this ball of light, which to me personally, I'm freaking really grateful, because it has so much familiarity of your story and the many walks I've had alone and around Gray's Lake, wondering, why am I always alone? Like, why am I the only person in my own life? Like, is it like like cut off from people or something? And so this is very meaningful for me too. And you should hear me say that. At least let's find out how I want to say thank you. I'd be curious to see.
Thank you. It's rolling this ball of light, and I look at you and I ask, first, would you like to receive this? You're not really hesitating at all with wanting to receive. I ask you, why do you want to receive this? You say that you understand, and you show me the image and just this whole progression of how I got here within this journey state. To the kid being alone in the store and realizing, wow, giving people these, it makes me feel safe. And even it makes me feel like I'm seen. Even before I saw the journey state and physical reality I love them. What made me feel journey, what made me feel safe within the journey state was enough for me in a sense. But on the other hand, it really wasn't because I was still afraid of something. And you say that you understand. So I hold out this white orb of love. You don't exactly take the white orb, you just put your hands on it too. And it starts to glow. And eventually it just melts into what looks like a goo, a really gray goo. And you say that there's more ways to do this. It doesn't have to just be white orbs anymore. In the space that I'm in isn't just a blank space anymore. It's shifting through so many different images of different places. What looks like an Egyptian temple to space to a rainforest to being underwater. And it's shifting so much. It's shifting and shifting and shifting and shifting through so many images and so many images and places and places. And you're telling me it's time you start to explore these places. You don't have to just explore what's inside anymore. You can explore outside of yourself and feel you're ready to feel more frequencies and vibrations of love outside of just this blank space with the heart balls. There's more that you can explore now. You place me in front of a door again, and it's see through and it's huge, and it's kind of the shape of a rectangle. It's see through, but it's also it's kind of like in a wooded area. It's in front of a wooded area. Yeah, I can kind of almost make out a reflection in this door, but the reflection is pretty fuzzy. I open the door, and then behind the door is just a black space. And I don't exactly know what's going to be behind this door when I walk through. But you ask me if I'm ready. And I start to laugh. I very dramatically like take a deep breath and then release. Pretty comic, pretty comically. And I walk through. I'm in the space, and you're here with me, and I feel the presence of. I feel a presence, and I start to smile like crazy. I'm really excited. Really excited for you to meet these people, and you already know these that they are. You almost introduced me to them in a way. I feel the Syrians. I don't exactly see them, but I feel them. I've been feeling them pretty often working with them. And the love that they feel for not just me, but the human race that they've shared with me, but specifically for me, has felt pretty intense. And I think I'm ready to receive. And they show me an image of a clock, but it's winding backwards. There's multiple clocks like spinning in this space, and they're all winding in reverse. It keeps spinning. It just keeps spinning, and it's spinning really quickly and quicker and quicker and quicker to the point where it starts to just look like a portal. And through the portal, some really, really lanky, really lanky thin beings walk through. Kind of like, I don't know how to describe this. They almost look like they're made out of really thin metal bars. But the metal isn't as hard as normal metal. It's kind of soft. And their faces are really bug-like. And there's a few of them. There's maybe four, but there's just one that's specifically wanting to calling for my attention. And they just wanted to say, it feels like I wanted to say she. She feels like a feminine energy. And she just wanted to say that she's proud of me. And you're still here too, Abby. You're kind of chilling with the other ones, just watching. She moves her arm, and she doesn't really have a hand. It's more just the end of a metal pole,
Hmm.
and it's kind of square-like. But she touches the square shape on my forehead, and it feels very cold. I open my eyes, and it's just me and you here now. And I start running around this space, and I'm very energized. And I'm very excited. Like, oh, what do we do now? Where do we go? Where do we go? What do we do now? I just feel like playing. And I'm being becoming very focused on the environment.
Hmm.
Like was here, but I wasn't fully there. But I'm becoming more in tune with this fantasy, this journey experience. And the more I'm becoming in tune with this, like a reality check, like, wow, I'm really here right now. And I freeze. I'm just examining the space now. I'm examining my hands. I'm looking down at my hands and just examining them. Everything just feels really interesting. It feels, how do I explain this? It feels like I'm made out of a sound. And you're watching me just examine myself and you're just smiling, just letting me enjoy this space. That asks you, is it normal to feel scared? And you walk closer and you hold on my hands and you say yes, but it's okay. Just breathe. I ask you what's happening. You tell me that I'm having an attunement. An attunement. I repeat, attunement. And you repeat again, you're having an attunement, and you start to smile and laugh. And the more I feel this attunement, the more I start to feel less of myself, and I just start to feel as if I'm a part of this space. And I'm losing my form. And I ask you again, is it okay? Is it normal to feel scared? And I start to see your frame start to, the bottom of your frame, starting from the bottom, going up, it starts to become almost invisible. Like you're becoming less of a form with me.
Mm.
And you're telling me again that it's okay.
I want to tell you, Isaiah, we've reached our time, but I have to mention some things. That attunement and then that feeling of fear and me kind of disappearing in the background, that, okay, man, this is so I'm like so freaking blown away by you. I don't even know what to say. So as you're discovering and you're opening up and you're totally stepping into a whole new relationship with this journey thing, you're going to realize that I'm already with you. Like I'm in you. Like you are part of me. I'm a part of you. Like I'm in you as you are in me. Like we're walking in the same body more than we know. And you carry me everywhere as you carry anybody and everybody everywhere, even the Syrians, the Arcturians, the worst and the best. Okay. So you can't be afraid of the dark or the light side of all, which is out there, but also in you. And so when you get anxiety or feeling of like concern, you did it in the beginning. You just were still and relaxed with it and you just sat with it. And some things are going to have to just reveal themselves and they're make you uncomfortable because you're clearing out, you're raising your vibration, which is clearing out some stuff that you're bouncing out of that vibrational space. And it's still clingy. Okay. So the only way to really let it go is to be able to feel it, experience it, feel uncomfortable about it, and then just find breathability again. And God, am I ever so proud of you. One of the things that kept like tugging at me as you were going through this is how, like, I want to see how colorful it is. Is it just like this like black space everywhere? Like I want to see like green grass or a sunny sky or blue. Or, it just felt like, as I was telling you, you can go internal, but there's so many things you can go see. Like you should go visit Santa Claus sometime and just imagine a place that maybe Santa Claus would live, and then just walk into his house and see what he's like. And maybe he isn't even there. Who knows? You can walk into the Bible, you can walk into Egypt, right? You can walk into anywhere. And anytime you feel uncertain, remember, I'm always there. Like I'm always there, and you can feel safe. I'm always there. Like, and your ancestors always there. People you don't even know that love you to death, always there. Your higher self and guides, whether you see them standing around you or not, always there. Like that love and that light is just like so bright within you. You carry it everywhere, and have fun. Like, and sometimes, no matter where you go, you can always bring people in. Like, I'm going to throw in some Archangel Metatron here. I'm going to throw in a splash of orange. I'm just going to turn everything orange and see how I experience it differently. You should totally go visit. Like, I love that you're working with Syrians. I swear to God, there's some like interesting parallels between you and me, but I swear you're going to love the Arcturians because I love them. I guarantee you're going to love them too. There's something about them. I love their very straightforward and intelligent, matter of fact way of communicating. And because I'm always trying to get to what is the bare bones, honest truth here? And am I creating something that I don't even realize that I'm creating it? And can I be living in more of an illusion than I know? Like the Arcturians are really helpful in helping you to break your own illusions that you didn't even know that you'd created it. So I think you would have some fun going to visit them sometime. One thing that I was thinking about, okay, this was a lot of fun, Isaiah. Imagine, and it's up to you, but imagine if we took your 15-minute and 30-minute session and just transformed it into like a live psychic mentoring thing. I mean, and we worked on it. I mean, it's up to you. We can stick with what we got for now, but think about it and let me know, because this could be a lot of fun to keep moving with this if it's up, it's like up your alley. But
No, I
I'm so,
definitely love this experience.
yeah, I know. Okay. You're like, I don't even think maybe but you're not letting yourself know because you need this permission thing, which most people do. And I like, you are so far advanced from maybe what you gotta know how advanced you are. I think you're just not, because you're nice and you don't have ego and all that stuff. Like, it's okay to just own it that you freaking are awesome. Like, you're a pro. You're not just a beginner. You're a pro. You could be doing something with your life doing this. If we had a session just like you and me again, imagine if I had you go visit like one of my grandpas that passed away. And you could practice doing sessions. Like, I'll give you a thing that you got to do it, and then you just see what comes up, and I'm not going to judge you, and plus I'm going to reap a reward. Like, cool, I get to see my grandpa through your eyes. That's awesome. You know what I mean? And that's going to continue to build your confidence. Okay. Can you imagine yourself doing what I do for a living?
100% imagine.
Okay, so again, if I'm fantasizing about it and then we have the physical reality, how do I meet them eye to eye? So you definitely are perceiving this. We just need to meet it eye to eye with the physical. Like, you should look at building a website. Like, I've been using Wix, super easy and fun. It's a fun thing to do. And I use Acuity scheduling. It's really easy. I don't know what it must be, like $15 a month or something, to just have a calendar and people can book sessions with you. Like, you can follow the same path that I've walked and make it your own and do exactly what I do for a living. And you can make a living out of it. And you would meet so many neat people. You would impact so many people's lives. You would be such an enriching gift for the world. And then you're bringing yourself out of the woodwork and you're growing from like a totally new branch of the tree, you know? So I think you can own it.
My communication is still like really up here, so I'm trying to come back down so I can
Oh,
answer
no,
you
I get
properly.
it. I
But yeah,
know.
no, I'm 100% just like really open, really open.
Cool.
And thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome, Isaiah. Thank you, though. This has been such a special experience for me. I've gotten to read your comments for a long time, and now you've joined my Patreon community, and I get to do a one-on-one with you. You're blessing my life here, you know? Thank you.
That's I'm really grateful.
Oh, cool. Me too. All right. I'm going to send you a recording. It's just like a downloadable link, and
Mhm.
then you can download it. It'll be available for the next 7 days. And then, so just like download it, and then you can rewatch it and you can watch yourself in action and say, oh my God, I just like legit did some serious psychic stuff. And that's going to help you build confidence too. Just watching yourself and listening to yourself communicating in a way that's not normal human talk.
Mhm.
It's kind of weird, but it gives you it helps you to grow again. Maybe you being small is just you growing to this your like actual natural like size and stature, you know?
Mhm.
It's a confidence thing. Like you don't have to be small anymore. You don't. Yeah. You're my competition. I love it. We're
Competition.
eye to eye.
We're
You're
eye to
you're
eye.
you're really good at this. I would be like honored if you came into the world and helped people, and I got to somehow be a part of that.
You are 100% a part of it.
Thank you. Thanks. You're putting all that into action. You're doing the work, man.
Definitely gonna have a lot to process.
Yeah.
I feel like after I do all of this, I need to just I take a
Yes.
second to just sit with it to remember like,
You
wow.
yeah. What I do when I get that mind-blowing moment, I just let the shower run and I sit down and I just let the water just
Mm.
do its thing and I just reflect. I find it's a perfect place. And maybe, that's the Syrian energy too, because I feel like water and Syrians are really connected. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank
I'll
you.
send you a link if not today, tomorrow. And
Mhm.
then when I send you the link, I'll give you some time to think how if you would like to do that or not. And then we'll just talk about it, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I'll respond and everything.
Cool. All right. We'll have an awesome rest